Hello everyone, this video will be my thoughts on the patch 11.13. So, things they're doing this patch. They're going to be reducing mobility. When they're reducing mobility, then they'll be nerfing things like Shrelias and Stridebreaker. Stridebreaker on people who probably shouldn't have gap closers like Garen Darius. When you put Stridebreaker on a Juggernaut like those, then their inherent weaknesses of being kited and such goes away because they have a dash. And for top lane, they're going to be buffing split pushing in top lane. They want to make it a bit stronger later on as well. And that's what their new item is going to achieve. Tahm Kench is also getting a small rework, which is going to move him away from the support position into top. And that's kind of where they wanted Tahm Kench to be. Here are the patch highlights as a small graphic. You've got the nerfs, the buffs, and the item changes here. So, Aphelios. It looks like his most recent buffs made him weaker at the higher level. So I went back to check, and it actually made this red-white combo. It's basically his outplay combo, where you can't 1v1 Aphelios. They've actually made this one a bit weaker, and I didn't even realize. His Q now has less hits, because before it used to hit more, which would give you more chakrams. But they've shifted power away from this specific combo to make the rest of his gun combo stronger with Severum. So because of that, it looks like he's getting a bit more damage and lethality. Those are with his rank level ups, because when Aphelios levels up, then you get stats instead. It looks pretty good. He gets 6 more bonus damage and 6 more lethality. So that's a nice buff. Kane's W is now revealed through walls. So what happened before was his W was just invisible when he'd be coming through a wall. This is mostly blue Kane, I think. So he'd just be coming at you really fast, and then he'd W, and you wouldn't be able to see it. So you can't really react to what you can't see, right? It's a bit strange that was in the game for so long, in my opinion. Lee Sin's E decreased, so solo lane Lee Sin got nerfed. It doesn't really affect jungle too much, because I think jungle you max Q anyways. The base damage is the same at level 1. It's just when you rank it up, and you normally rank up E for wave clear harass and such in solo lanes. Olaf. They're just rounding up the numbers, really. Rounding up the numbers, giving him a small buff. That's fair. Riven. 10 off her shield at all points. She is very mobile with her very quick trades. She's normally out before you can even really touch her in some matchups. But yeah, she'll be feeling the E nerf. Rumble. It's quite strong everywhere. So he's getting more cooldown on his W. It's basically reducing his Claire, the move speed. The cooldown on the W goes up. Less healthy Claire. Just by a little bit though. It's not too much, but yeah, he's pretty prevalent. And then we've got Tahm Kench. Bunch of changes. The main thing that they changed was they made his W is now his ult. but it's a bit like a mini Malphite knockup. But he kind of dives underwater and then appears there. So he doesn't charge directly at you. He comes from below. And now his eat is now his ult. And it seems like he can do some pretty cool stuff. They've made it so his Q can now apply the stacks again if the Q stuns you. And he can also, if he eats an ally, then he can take them with him. He channels briefly when he uses this, so he can't use it in all situations. But yeah, he can eat an ally and then he can just dive away with them, which is pretty cool. And generally more tanky. Yes. But they did take away his base stats. He has less health overall. A bit more mana. His spells were quite expensive, really. Let's see. Cost 60. Yeah. Oh, right. They made the Tongue Lash. That's like his main ability as well. You max that first. Yep. That'll be less mana. Yeah. These changes look pretty good. We're seeing him a lot. Yep. This is a good change to lane Viego. It does buff jungle Viego himself. I don't think that's really needed because Viego's jungle is pretty strong anyway. They could have just reduced the Q healing from minions. Just nerfed solo lane Viego and be done with it. But they did, but they buffed his E as well. He's faster. The missile is faster as well on his E. The fog that he uses. I've not seen Zyra in a long time, so these buffs are nice. I didn't actually read what they were. It was Q. Base damage per feather. It's a very slight buff. Yeah, because it has two feathers. So this one at the bottom is just the total of both. New item Anthem as chains. I think this will also be used against split pushers too. So they've added a pretty huge split push item, but they've also added a really nice item for tanks where you select a target and you can take away you basically take away their tenacity. You have an active where you choose someone to take less damage from, but while near them, you also reduce their tenacity, which can go below 0. It's quite cheap as well. 2.5k gold for a legendary. Built out of a giant spell and Kindle Gem. It should be pretty good. Supports will probably build it too. It's nice and cheap. So here's the big item. Hullbreaker. Which is basically the return of Banner of Command. But you can't just leave minions in a lane now. You have to be present in the area for this item to work. And it buffs the large minion. It gives the large minion more armor and magic resist, and they deal more damage to turrets. You also gain a buff as well. The build path seems pretty good. They didn't add the total gold, but it adds up to pickaxes, 875, phages, 1.1. So it's 2.7k gold, which is not bad. Quite cheap for a legendary. Gives you health, damage, and health regen. Should be pretty good. It's gonna definitely make Yorick stronger. Yorick with this item, probably unbeatable in split push. And here we have the stride break nerfs. it no longer gives you a dash anymore. Instead, it's an active with a really big slow. And they've added the health onto it. Took away some damage. Got rid of the... Not got rid of. They reduced some of the move speed. Gale Force. Lich Bane. Cosmic Drive. A lot of these move speed items are just straight up nerfs. And then we've got Cleaver. They've compensated it with a bit of health, because it's not that popular an item anyways. DMP got nerfed too. Doesn't do magic damage anymore, it does physical damage instead. Trinity gets more damage. Death Stance no longer grants move speed on takedowns. And I was actually using this on Lowy a bit, because Soul Pulls would count as champion takedowns too. So now it'll give more healing, but it won't give move speed anymore. So I'll stop experimenting with that one. I think I'll still try and build the item. I like the synergies it has with Lowy. And it'll give a bit more of a heal. But yeah, I wasn't really looking to use the move speed of Soul Pulls. I wasn't really used to it. But they've removed it now, so no more experimenting there. It looks like quite a big nerf to Shrelia's, but I think people will still build it. It goes from 60% to 30%, which is quite a lot. The fact that Prowler's Claw can't be used on minions anymore to get to you. What people were doing with Prowler's Claw is they were using it to dash to a minion, and then they could jump straight onto you. Looks like they've made the cooldown higher. They took away some lethality as well. Mana Mythics, all 200 gold cheaper. A welcome buff for the mages. Seems pretty good, especially because Mythics are the first item that you get. Moonstone Renewer, a slight buff. Divine Sunder is weaker on range champions. Per se Ezreal. It's the same for melee. Nimbus Cloak at level 16 is nerfed. Level 16 onwards nerfed, but it will be the same for the early levels. Ghost Porro sticks around for longer, 30 seconds more. Reveals enemies for longer too. Nice for split pushers. The Ghost Porro will warn you with a danger ping when it spots someone. A turret update for the tier 2 top and bottom lane turrets to grant more local gold to help split pushing. I'd normally take this turret quite a lot. It always felt a bit more risky than it was rewarding most of the time. But this is going to be a good buff for split pushers, because that's a lot of local gold that you get, like additional gold. Split pushing is going to be a pretty good strategy now. Smite doesn't instantly kill Tibbers and such. When you've got the upgraded smite, you smite 5 times, it gets upgraded, but the upgraded one does 900 damage. So Tibbers, Daisy, and that, they're all getting smited out by junglers. They reduced that now. Then we got some ARAM balance changes, bug fixes, and some skins. And that's the patch.